Hey, this is Hans from Request for Music, and in my Patch from Scratch series, I now want to create sort of a human whistle kind of sound. So, what would I need? I would at least need an oscillator because I want a sine wave or something. I think I like a VCF, not sure if I need it, but want to make sure that I can dial stuff back if I want to. I need a VCA with with an ADSR so um, I can create a VCA that closes when I want that. I can decide for myself what to do, and I need an LFO and an extra ADSR. Um, I need an LFO because I want to be able to dial in how much vibrato there is in that sound, and I need the ADSR because I want to dial in some ADSR into the frequency modulation so it bends up the sound, right? So first of all, let's get that. I do need an attenuator probably, so this should be the stuff that you would have if you um, use the Origins bundle. So what do? I'm taking out the oscillator into the filter. I'm going to take my filter out into my input from my VCA. I'll switch on the envelope input so I can take the output of the one below, and I'll take the gate out of my source to be able to switch on that ADSR, and I take the output out of this into my main output. And I obviously need some pitch to change the VCO. So if I set this to maybe 2 octaves up, then I should be able to hear some sound when I dial open the filter. So something like that, and obviously it's too loud and it's not the sort of sound that I want yet, but okay, that will work. So what do I need? I at least need an ADSR, and I need to be able to dial that into the frequency modulation. So I need a gate, obviously, to trigger the ADSR, and I'll put that into the second input here on my attenuator and dial that into the FM. And the sound needs to be coming up. It needs to have an attack, and it needs to have a sustain and decay that stays on as long as I want, and I need to dial that up. So now need to so that's not really too bad. So I could take some ADSR and maybe some decay on my VCA. So something like that. Then obviously I need some LFO, and I could of course just take my vibrato or my sine wave out of the LFO and dial that into the FM straight away. So then I could dial this up to have the speed that I want and dial this back. So yeah, that's not really what I want. So what I actually want, and the only thing is that I don't have that within my um, in my CV source. I actually would need a modulation wheel to dial in. I could try it with a VCA first. Let's see if that works. So I'll take a VCA. Where is it? Let's take it from here, and I'll just take a normal one, and I'm going to put my my LFO into the input of my VCA, and I'm going to take my modulation wheel out of this and take the output, and as you can hear, this is not really what I want because I want to dial it in. So 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 something like this. So my modulation wheel is driving the amplitude modulation of my VCA, so that sort of opens it. Whenever I open up my modulation on my keyboard, you don't see that, but I've got a Arturia key step and I've got this slider for modulation. So when I press it normally, the key, I don't have that. So it's not really that bad, and maybe I want that whistle sound a bit lower. And the only thing I think that would be missing is some noise kind of sound, because obviously I want some extra noise in there to be able to have that breathing sound. So I could have a look at the VCF, my F noise. So, well, I think I can do with just the noise and just take that into my attenuator and dial that in as well. Or I could, yeah, then it would be existent all of the time, right? So I take the white noise and I'll put it into my into my filter input. This is too loud, as you can tell. So now something like this. So something like this, and maybe I would want to have that being contained, the sort of noise that I use. So I might actually need a next VCA and ADSR combination, so I can dial that back a bit. So I'll take the VCA in front of this, and I'll switch the noise in front, because I want to have sort of a linear way of looking at it. So actually the LFO would be for the VCA or in front of the VCA. So my ADSR is driving the attenuator, the LFO is going back to the VCA, but now the noise, which is connected to the third one here, is now first of all going into the input, while the output is going into this same attenuator, so I can still manage the amount of noise that I'm getting, but now instead of going straight away, it's going through this, so I can take the output of my ADSR. Oops, that didn't work. And I need a gate from here, of course, and then I could set a longer ADSR to, as I said, manage the amount of noise that it's getting. So now it's dialing it in slowly. So something like that. That's not too bad, really. I think the only thing is missing is um, some reverb in the end and some delay. So most of the time I just put my reverb and my standard delay in there. I really like those sounds, so I'll switch off the libraries so you don't have a problem seeing those. And I'm going to take my output of my VCA into my delay. I'll have to switch the delay on. If I only have one input, that's okay. It will just create a stereo signal of that. So I'm going to take that out into this, and I'll dial the outputs up to be able to hear everything in a proper way. So this might be a bit too much. So reverb a bit back, and I'll dial it up a bit because there's some detuning, some chorusing in there, and take the wet amount of the echo out. Maybe some more echo, more feedback. So less of this. Something like this. And yeah, this needs some work on the amount of reverb and the amount of delay, and I could actually have that VCF more open if I wanted to. And maybe if I really wanted, I could take the noise through a separate VCF to take some of the bottom end of that out, because it's a bit too dark. It needs to be more high, so to speak. Or I could try, if it works, if I do a bandpass filter instead. And if I want to have a different kind of noise, say that I want the breath in the beginning, but I don't want all the way, I could take my delay down, and I could just take some sustain in there. So I would keep something as long as this is open. So if I lengthen this, I would still have some noise in there. And this is a bit too loud in the beginning, so I would really have to manage this a bit. But anyway, this gives you the sort of human kind of whistle sound that I would be after for this series of Patch from Scratch. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you back in the next one. Cheers, bye bye.